Welcome to Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. So hello everyone and welcome to Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie. And tonight we have an amazing guest. You know, we always bring guests onto the podcast to inspire you, to encourage you, to tell you stories about their lives and some triumphant moments that they have. So I'm so excited on tonight to bring to you Miss Diann. Miss Diann, how are you? And welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm doing well. How are you this evening?
Well, and thank you for asking. Thank you for coming on to Inspirational Talks. I really love planting positive seeds in the lives of others. And so you're helping me on tonight to all of the listeners that are out there who will be listening to this show. And so I want you to just start off. I read your amazing bio, and I want you to just start off by telling some of the listeners, you know, who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, again, thank you so much for having me on the show. I do appreciate it. And as you read on my bio, but your listeners have not, my name is Diann Antley. I am a forgiveness coach. And actually what I do is I help divorced Christians to forgive and release so that they can reclaim their power and embrace their purpose in life. And I just want to start out by saying that I don't take what I do lightly. And the reason why I don't is because I've been where you are. So to that one person who's sitting listening to this podcast right now, I have been where you are. I've gone through my own divorce. Actually, I went through one divorce, 2 bankruptcies, and I had to walk away from my house. So I had plenty of reason to be resentful and angry, and I went through a season where I was just that, resentful, angry, frustrated, didn't know where I was going to live, didn't know how I was going to be able to catch up on my bills, just going through all of these things. But even in the midst of all of that, I had to find some way to reclaim my power, right? I had to find some way to forgive and to release everything that I was going through. And it's not an easy journey. But it is a journey that we have to do. We're responsible as Christians, as believers. I feel that it's our responsibility to forgive and to release those things that no longer serve us, those things that get under our skin, those things that we go through in life because God doesn't want us holding it. We're not supposed to be doing that.
Right. You know what, Diann, I just want to let you know that, we had met. I know we spoke before the show started, but we had met, before doing like a pitch, and we were talking about our businesses. And, even when I heard you talk about what you do as a divorce coach and everything, I did say that I had to get in contact with you because I knew that this was just amazing because I'm a divorced single mom, of 7 years going on 8, and I have 2 amazing sons. And so when I was reading in your bio about forgiveness and reclaiming your power and the things that you had gone through, I was saying, even though I didn't have a coach at the time, but what you do for others and the reason why you decided to do this is, essentially, saying how I walk, God and myself, we walk through, healing and choosing to forgive. And so I am so thankful that, like you said, even to the one person, that may be listening to this show, that they'll be able to glean from, what you have to offer. And so I'm thankful that, we did get a chance to, connect and have you on Inspirational Talk. So I'm so excited.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. So could you share a little bit about what inspired you to do what you do? I know you said you had to regroup from the bankruptcies and everything, but what else inspired you to do what you're doing now?
Well, when I hit my rock bottom and I gave myself permission to get help, And I have to say it like that because we have to allow ourselves to receive help from others so that we can grow through our journey. And at one point I was so broken, I didn't even want to receive help from anybody. But I got to a point where I had no choice. So I asked God to show me someone I can talk to, because I was at a point where I didn't want to trust anybody. I didn't feel I could trust anybody. So I needed God's help to, show me who I can speak to get the help that I needed. And he pointed me to several different women in my church that I go to.
Right.
And I was so grateful for the help, and they were just helping me with what I can do to try to keep my house, and with the bankruptcies, all of the paperwork that needs to be filled out, and just pretty much everything that I was going through. Somebody had some type of solution or advice for me. And I was so grateful for it, just plugging in and doing what needed to be done so that I can save myself, on this end while God's doing his part on his end. But it got to a point where one day I just sat down and said, okay, wait a minute. Why are there so many believers, the answers to these questions? Because that tells me that they went through what I went through, or are currently going through what I was going through. Why is that?
Exactly.
And it saddened me almost immediately, because it shouldn't be. As believers in the kingdom, us being kingdom women, we should not be going through this stuff. Call it selfish, but because we're cut from a different cloth, we're not supposed to be going through stuff, at least not this strenuous. At least stuff that's not this strenuous. That's not what we're supposed to be going through. If anything, our marriages are supposed to thrive. Our bills are supposed to be paid. We're not supposed to be the ones to go through this stuff. And when I had a conversation with God about it, I'm like, why isn't there support in the churches to help women go through their divorces? Because I know for me, I was one who was going to church every Sunday, still looking good, smelling good. But when I walked out of that church, I was like, okay, what am I going to do today to try to save myself? Because these things still had to happen. And so when I discovered this, I'm like, okay, something has to be done. Either churches have to have something in place, a program or a system in place or something that they can help these women going through a divorce or something. And the next thing I know, God said, you're going to be the support. And when he said that, I'm like, okay, Lord, but you know how we be having conversations, God, and you say something and I say something back. And that little give and take kind of situation. I wasn't really talking about me.
I have them all the time.
But come to find out, he was talking. I wasn't talking about me, but he was talking about me. So just fast forward into now.
Oh my goodness, Diann. I'm thankful that he called you to be the trailblazer, because oftentimes we are the person that we needed, because he's equipping us with what we need to get through. And so as you journeyed through, you saw the need of the other persons that were back there standing, and they needed as well. Even though I know, like you said, because I can attest to even the minute that I became a single mom, of just saying, okay, I never expected this. Even when, we decided to, get the divorce, I was like, I never set out to be divorced. I set out to be married. So I didn't think, about that point. And so this conversation, is for me, is like really, really good. Because I know there's so many people, like you said, people in the church. I think, it's people out there who don't ask these questions, or you wouldn't even think that they needed help, but they do need help. And so it's so good that, that you're doing what you're doing and you're able to give the support. Because sometimes conversations are taboo. Even in the church, sometimes it's not talked about, because if you're divorced, I think it's like a touchy situation. People don't really know what to say, even though that's your most vulnerable point, when you need someone to be there, or someone to give you some wise counsel, not just somebody you can talk about, the divorce and the proceedings and all, all the extra, the stuff, the juicy stuff that they try to find out, but just to, to get that support, that you need. Because I know when I was even reaching out to tell, people that I was at the divorce point, they tried to talk me back into, and I was like, what? God and I have had this conversation, And so if he's okay with it, then I am too. And, I really would have wanted their support because in the most kindness and gentle way, I would always say I was the one in the marriage. The other people who are outside of it, they're not there. And so, but it was the best decision for, myself, my children. And like I said, I went to God and consulted him. So I'm just excited that, listeners, you are in for, some good information. We have an expert here who, she's talking about forgiveness, because we always have to forgive. Forgiveness is not just for the other person, but it is for us as well. And so I just wanted to lead, into this question about asking you about a time that you had to overcome, some obstacle in this journey of, doing what you do. Even I saw that you're an inspirational speaker, you're an author, and also, you have your own internet show. And so just what can you tell me about sometimes that you had to overcome something in this journey?
Well, I still become challenged with ensuring myself that, I'm good enough for all of this. Mm-hmm. That, okay, like God, okay, you sure you want me? Because it's not too late for you to change your mind, Lord. You can go ahead and pick somebody else. Because, you all doing, you all knowing, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do have that question about it where it's like, okay, Lord, are you sure that you want me to do this? Because just with everything that I've gone through, and if anybody really knows me, they know that when it comes to me going through stuff, I shut the world out. I was the type of person who just shut everybody out. Like, okay, I'm going to do some stuff. I'll see y'all when I get done with it, and not really share anything. Yeah. So taking this journey has pretty much forced me to come out of that and to be able to share my story with others. And there's so much healing in sharing your story. Even when I was initially writing the chapter in the anthology that I'm currently in, so I can remember sitting by that window and I'm like, okay, how am I going to write this? How am I going to pull all of this stuff out? And that was a bit of a struggle for me, because do I give names? Do I not give names? How do I do this? And of course I consulted with God, and he was like, well, if you're going to share your story, it's to heal somebody else. I mean, you're the author of this chapter. Yes, you're writing it, but remember, it's not about you. And I was like, oh, that's right. You're right. I mean, I went through this stuff. I am the leading. Absolutely. I'm the leading actress in this role that I'm playing, but the story is not about me. And I had to remember that. And so, you still get that kind of situation where I had to remind myself, okay, you're doing the things that you're doing, but this is not about you. This is about someone that you want to help. So you have to continue going on. And as long as I keep that in the forefront of my mind, I can continue moving forward.
Yes. And I like what you said, because that's oftentimes with me. I share, often God had me to start sharing that I'm a survivor of attempted suicide. And so even in beginning to share that story, he had to let me know that he said, okay, LaDonna, people see that you're happy, people see that you smile, but they need to really know what you've gone through. And so I had to understand that in that moment, he was letting me know that it wasn't about me, but I was a vessel that was going to help other people come through, these same things, because there were people that were in that same situation. And so I can understand with you saying that too, because I do that too, Diann. I'd be like, God, are you sure that this is what you want me to do? Oftentimes I would ask him, I was like, am I making the impact that you want me to make? And it seems like right at that moment when I ask, someone will either send me an inbox message privately, or I'll walk into somebody and they'll say something about how just speaking with me helped them or calmed them or inspired them or, or encouraged them. And so I know, Diann, that even though we feel the weight of the call and of our purpose, but I know that you have impacted so many people's lives, with your sharing your story, because they get to say, I'm not the only one going through this. Like somebody else has gone through this and they've overcame it, or they're at a point where they're aware and they're still loving on themselves and loving themselves through it. And so I wanted to say, congratulations on your chapter and congratulations on starting this journey of helping others to walk through that same path.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. And so I'm excited about the anthology that you told me about, but I wanted to just have you to share some more highlights, some highlights and some achievements that you've experienced throughout this journey.
Well, let's see, because everything started out with that chapter in that anthology. It was like from that moment, that must have been my way of saying, okay, God, I'm ready. Because once that started, I started my coaching and consulting business in the midst of the pandemic last year. And so that was pretty interesting because, of course, 2020 was just such a situation, if you will. I don't even know if I want to call it a year. Let's just call it a situation. That none of us really knew what was going to come out of it.
No.
I can look back now and say that all the things that I went through prior to 2020 had prepared me for 2020. Right. Because if 2020 would have happened 10 or 15 years ago, I would have been somebody just totally bugging out. Like, what's going to happen to us? Are we all going to be okay? Is anybody in my family going to die? Just going crazy.
Exactly. I feel you because I know that 2020 prepared, but it's just like for me, I almost feel like, how the story in the Bible about how like David was supposed to be king, but he had to right after he got anointed, he had to go back to the field and he had to kind of work. So it was kind of like, we've been through other situations and other things that had prepared us, like mentally, even though we still had to, get adjusted. Because I'm not going to say that it wasn't an adjustment. I had to be realistic with that. But at the same time, the famous word that everyone was using was we had to pivot. We had to pivot for that moment, and we had to learn how to do things differently. But getting back to your anthology, congratulations on that. And that's big because anytime you put, I say pen to pad, but maybe you had a laptop or, an iPad, and started to write out that story. Writing has always been therapeutic for me. I started at the age of 14. And so I know that that's a great, highlight and achievement for you because I feel like, and I know it's legacy. It's legacy in the earth. It's legacy being left for someone else to pick up a book, that you've written and for them to read it and also to share it with, somebody else who needs it. And so that in itself is enough, to give your own self a pat on the back. And most of the time, every time you pick your book up, just be like, yes.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Every time I go to my bookshelf, I may take a look at it and go, okay, that's that. It's not going anywhere. That's still myself and those other authors. I was partnered with some amazing authors who had other stories as well of forgiveness and transitioning and overcoming. So it was perfect. It's a great thing. And I'm looking forward to even participating in more projects. Just been speaking on different podcasts, like this phenomenal podcast that I'm speaking on right now. I spoke at a virtual professional and personal development summit December of 2020. I have a couple of things coming up that I can't really talk about right now. I still have to wait a couple of weeks before I can take the lid off of that. But I'm very excited because someone like me who is relatively new in the speaker realm and in the coaching realm, for what's getting ready to come up, it's going to be very exciting. I'm super excited about it. And I just feel like because I'm being as obedient as I can, and being as transparent as I can to help other people, I'm believing that those are the rewards that are coming back to me. So it's exciting.
Yes, and congratulations, because you do have to come to that time when you I guess build quietly. And I've come to that part in the journey of making sure that, there's a time to put it out there. But congratulations, now just for stepping ahead and for being a part of, things that will impact lives. So congratulations to you again. Could you give the title of the book? I don't think that did you give the title of the book?
I didn't. The title of the anthology is Lift, Launch, Lead. It's an entrepreneur's guide for just starting your own businesses. But even before you do that, just being able to heal and be delivered from the things that you're going through. through. So the name of it's called Lift, Launch, Lead.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. So listeners, Lift, Launch, and Lead. If you need to get a copy of that, is it out on Amazon?
It is. You can also, well, we're on a podcast, so I can't drop a link for everybody, but.
Well, just give it to me and I'll make sure that I put it in the information so they can be able to click on it, when we air. So yeah,
that would be great, because actually I think my link might be even better and be quicker for your viewing audience. So it's bit.ly /Diann Lift Launch Lead.
Okay. Awesome. I am so excited about the book. It sounds like something that I need to read as well, to just always get the personal development you need, and just to sharpen your tools, because I've become a reader in these last couple of years. I can't say that I always was, but I would hear people say leaders are leaders.
Yes,
and I was like,
I
must be right. I was like, I must be slacking. Let me start, reading. I think I would skim through, but hey, I'm here now. I'm in this space. And so it's always great to, I love to support and put another book in my library of books. And so thank you so much for sharing it with the listening audience.
Sure.
You're so welcome. I also wanted to ask you, because we talk about business, we talk about what we do, but what do you do for fun? Because we have to have a little bit of time in some mental health breaks, some fun breaks. So what do you do for fun when you're not doing business, author, speaking, your own internet show? What are you doing for fun?
I'm so glad that you said that before you even asked the question, because self-care is important.
Yeah.
It is, especially with everything that's going around and everything that you're going through. You got to take a moment to do some kind of self-care or to have fun or something. Yeah. And I know it's all over across the internet. We do what's called self-care Sundays, but I'm learning to do self-care every day.
Exactly.
Because at some point I'm going to unplug, and I'm either going to turn on the TV to watch a good movie or read some type of book or something, or maybe catch up on some stuff on the internet, just something that you can decompress from all of the other stuff. I mean, outside is not as open as we want it to be, so we're not going to the movies and dinner and things of that nature, but that's okay. Thank God for platforms like Zoom, like Google Meets. Those of you who are into Clubhouse, just those different things where you can just come together collectively and just have fun, because you do have to have fun. But I love me a good movie. I love me a good book. I'll sit with a glass of wine. Yes, she does like her wine, and she's okay with it.
Yes.
And I'm in a great relationship with someone who, I think he kind of likes me pretty much, to the point he might even love me a little bit.
I'm excited.
So you definitely have to nurture that as well. And so for those of you who are listening, if you're a part of LaDonna's community and you're listening to this podcast, don't forget to nurture your relationships as well. Your friendships, call family members, all of that is important, especially during these times.
It is. Diann, I love the fact that you said a good movie. I'm a movie watcher. I think in this time of this pandemic, or whatever we're calling it, I've Netflix. I think I probably watched everything on there, and also my Prime Video, because as a writer, I'm a writer I'm an author of actually 11 books. I got my 12th one coming out next month, and then I've also co-authored about 15 plus. 15 might not even be the number now. I've lost track of the ones that I've co-authored, because I just love helping. I had to pull myself away, and I feel like binge watching movies have always been what helps my brain not to want to focus, because I have pens all around me, and I will stop and write down thoughts, or I'll get stuck in doing something. And so I had to start implementing self-care for me daily. Like you said, I can't really wait until like the weekend. You know how everyone's happy, let's wait, it's Friday, happy for the weekend. No, I have to implement that in my everyday, because it's like I love my work is my passion, and I've actually been writing since the age of 14. So I don't know a time when I wasn't writing. or
Right.
when I wasn't, preparing something. So for me, and I'm glad that I can, watch a good movie. Like even on the good days when the sun is out, when the sun is shining, I walk outside, look at the clouds, just feel the breeze. And different things like that. But you have to take a time to kind of like, step away. And so it's always good, like you said, you have someone in your life that loves you, spend time with them, your family, and just, a good time to have some fun and relax and unwind. And so thank you for sharing that with the listening audience. So
You're
you
welcome.
all out there, make sure you're taking that self-care. Make sure that you are, loving on yourself and the others that are around you. Make sure you show some care and some love for those who are around you. And so, Diann, I've had an amazing time, on Inspirational Talks with you, sharing, saying all of your story and what you do. We're wrapping it up. So if you want to share any final thoughts, with the listeners, tell them where they can follow you. You can, talk about the book again, even, introduce them to your show that you have. We can, go over and follow you anywhere that we can. And so I would love for you to give that information now.
Well, again, thank you so much for having me on your show. I do appreciate it. And speaking of shows, let me start with that. Yes, I do have a show that I stream on Facebook and YouTube called Getting Real and Raw About Divorce. And I would love to have you on the show as well. So I'm going to email you about that. But definitely, because I'm looking for divorced women who are ready to share their story and give their testimony, if for no other reason, just to share it with another woman, to let her know that she's not alone. She's not alone. Unfortunately, we are in a class where divorced Christians are going through divorces as well. And we need to be able to talk about it. And that was the main reason why I started the show, because there needs to be a place where we can just get together and just have a conversation. So I normally have my show on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, it's called Getting Real and Raw About Divorce. And if there is a divorced Christian woman or a man who is ready to tell their story, they can go ahead and email me at diannantley@gmail.com and just let me know that you'd love to be a guest on the show. But outside of that, you can find me on Facebook and on LinkedIn at Diann Antley, and you can find me on Instagram at Anew You Clarified.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Diann, for sharing all of your links. Thank you for coming onto the show. I know that the listening audience, because I mostly have 70% of women, so I know that they're going to be listening attentively to what you're saying and, what you've shared on tonight. A little, parts of your story will help them. And I hope that, you all reach out to her if you need any, further help, or if you have a story, like you said, that you want to tell your story, and you're ready to make sure that you reach out to her, or you can just get in touch with me at Inspirational Talks, and I'll make sure that I direct you over to her. Diann, it has been a blessing to have you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing, parts of who you are with the audience of Inspirational Talks.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. So ladies and gents out there listening, this has been Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie and my special guest, Diann Antley. You make sure you come here every Monday at 7:30 Eastern, and that's also 6:30 Central, to hear and share these stories with all of the guests who come on the show. This is LaDonna Marie, and have a blessed night. Bye, everybody. Hey everybody, it's LaDonna Marie, internationally multi-award winning author, speaker, and personal development life coach of LaDonna Marie Books, where my mission is to discover the champion in you through healing and changing a narrative in your life, one book at a time. You can shop and find out more information at www.ladonnamarie.org and check out the shop page.
This has been another purpose-packed episode of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie of Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Please remember to like, share, and tell your friends about the podcast. Stay tuned for many more inspirational talks with LaDonna Marie.